Hi everybody, welcome back to our series Flip That Zoo. My name is Nuba Girl, for you don't already know me. So so I kind of thought I would start out with a little bit of an intro to our zoo because it has been a hot minute. I am sorry I've been gone for so long. Those of you who've come to my stream or have chatted me in Discord know between basically needing a mental break, timeout, and moving across the country. I had to drive across the country from the East Coast down very close to Florida all the way to the Pacific Northwest 3 times to get my family and pets and most of our belongings. We actually purged quite a bit and left a good chunk of our stuff just behind. We all absolutely love it here. We feel very much at home. It is very beautiful. We're super happy. And now that I've got life pretty much sorted, the joy has been found. I started streaming again in January. And now I'm ready to hop back in and start refreshing and renewing my YouTube content, posting regularly again like I was. Again, with a big apology for just kind of running away and being lost in the ether, basically. But I'm hoping to pick up kind of where we left off. I also kind of want to finish this zoo up. I feel like we're halfway, maybe even 2/3 of the way done. We're getting there. We have finished almost this entire half of the zoo. I would like to finish this off with some foliage out here to kind of cap it off and make it look very complete. I've also contemplated doing like big fences or something, just something to complete this as a finished part of our zoo, because I don't think I'm going to put anything else over here. I might possibly put a habitat here, simply because there is a restaurant here. It'd be kind of weird to have nothing on all sides of the restaurant. That's a possibility, but these have all been completed. I'm not sure. I believe that we put someone in here. The cheetahs are in here. They're just a very minimalistic animal. They don't take a lot to make happy. We could make this one a little more jazzed up. Let me know what you guys think about that. Should we jazz this one up more, or just kind of leave it as a simplistic habitat? There is no wrong answer there. I just kind of want to know what you guys think. I do feel like we also need to sink all of these speakers into the ground. They're all kind of just hanging out. I did perfect these stairs, or put these stairs up last time we played. I think it's a little weird that they're just kind of hanging out here in midair. So I'm probably going to put some posts here to make it look more realistic. I might also put something under here to make it look less crazy. Not sure yet. Or just a whole bunch of foliage. Not sure. I do feel like we need to cap this kind of off though, because we are going back into the staffing area back here. And I don't think that's a place for visitors to be poking about. All of these habitats have been done. This has all been completed. There's nothing here. I might put maybe a foliage garden or something here, maybe a pond, I'm not sure. It is a little undecorated, and I would like to fancy it up a little bit. This has all been cleaned up. Again, I just don't, I think we're not using the best of our ability as far as landscaping here. And there's nothing here. This is all just kind of weird, funky pathing, which I'm gonna fix. And possibly put some shops or something right here, because this kind of leads into our big plaza of shops. Or maybe a little food court area could go right here on either side, since there's already some tables here. Just once again, it doesn't look complete. I absolutely love our castle area. That is 100% complete. Except once again, right here, we could use some foliage and some finishing touches. it's like I feel like a lot of finishing touches weren't done. I feel like a lot of separate habitats were completed, but not a lot of polish. All right, so that kind of really wraps up what I want to do here, and we're going to start it all like right at the beginning. We're going to make this entrance really, really pop. It's kind of lackluster right now and not super thrilling. So we're going to put some bushes, some lining, some rockage, really just make it pop. If you are struggling in your zoo and it doesn't feel like it's complete or like it's great, but you've done everything you could think of, but you haven't done detailing, then I recommend highly doing some detailing. Another little trick that is really cool, if you can't find the bushes that work, take those trees and lower them down into the ground. It might seem a little strange, like in your mindset, because hey, this is a tree, but it can look really good as foliage. It's a little cheaty trick, but I find it to be very useful and can really make your area feel more complete when you're using what you might consider the right tools. So, yeah, rock work is a little tedious sometimes. Sometimes, you know, placing rocks for 5 million years can seem a little boring, but I tell you what, when we're done with it and you see the result of placing a gajillion rocks, you're going to see that the zoo is going to just really come alive. It's going to be amazing with the detail and with what it looks like in the end. And then we also, I really wanted to start kind of framing the paths as well, because I didn't choose to put borders on my paths, at least not all of them, or actually none of them, but I'm going to change that as we go along. Some I'm going to create borders like this one, and then some I'm going to use the borders that come with the paths. It's going to depend on the area. This is the entrance of the zoo, so I really wanted it to be unique, and I felt like rocks really fit that area better than the path border would. And then there's going to be some points in time when I just use the path border that comes with the game. There's nothing wrong with either option. I just find changing it up can make your zoo a little unique. Or at least that's how I feel about it. What do you guys think? Do you guys lay natural paths? Do you guys just use the ones that come with the paths in the game and don't bother with rock and foliage laying? What's your method? Am I the only weirdo that puts a million rocks everywhere? I can't be the only one. I feel like you can't play Planet Zoo unless you place a million rocks. I feel like it's almost like a rite of passage. Have you spent at least an hour building rocks? If you have, then, rite of passage complete. I'm just kidding. Some people can't stand it, so they don't do it. And that's fine. There's actually no wrong way to play this game, which is the really awesome thing about Planet Zoo. You can literally take your brain and be so creative with it and just kind of come up with your own rules, boundaries, skill set. Because some people like to do realistic zoos. Some people like to do themed things. Sometimes based on animals. Sometimes based on just wild out there things. Like I've seen zoos that were based off of Zelda, the video game. I've seen zoos based off of outer space. Like they actually went to space and created a zoo in space, which was really, really cool. If you ever want to see those, you can go down below in my friends list and unicorn communities. It's something I actually helped moderate. Those zoos are actually in there. And it's really good work if you ever want to take a look at them. People are so creative. I love the creativity of the Planet Zoo community. Like, I think I'm okay at creativity, because the reason I say that is not to diss myself, but it's because the creativity of other people that I've seen over the years of Planet Zoo just blows me away. It makes me, it's crazy. Like, the amount of creativity I've seen is just insane and beautiful, and I love it. I love it so much. I think that is, the wonder of Planet Zoo. Speaking of Planet Zoo, kind of speaking of, the entire, franchise or or whatever, I've read and seen that Planet Coaster is making a comeback, like a Planet Coaster 2. Kind of curious about that. I have Planet Coaster 1, the original. I haven't played it in, I think a couple years, but I've been contemplating bringing it back and playing it, but I'm not sure what to think about that. What do you guys think? Do you think, would you watch Planet Zoo content? Is that something you're kind of into? Also, I need to play it and see if I get into it, because that's the other thing. Like, I enjoy games. I enjoy like changing up games because I have ADHD, so I get bored fast, and sometimes I hyper focus on games. But if I don't like take, an absolute love for it, I get bored even faster. So I would love to hear your input, whether you would watch it, whether it's something you would find intriguing. And then I would need to pick it up and play it and see if it suits my fancy. But see how much like just laying that foliage really brought that area together? It was all dull and brown before, and now it's detailed and laid out well. I'm looking at all the areas that just don't have any kind of detailing, and I'm trying to make sure they all get it. Whether it's trees, whether it's bushes, whether it's just some basic framing. And I'm trying to be a little realistic with it as well. I want to make sure if I'm putting a tree somewhere, it's not somewhere where a tree won't grow. I did put bamboo in that location, but if you thought about it, the angle of the sun would hit it at times, and bamboo grows like crazy. I'm just moving some stuff around to kind of make the zoo a little bit better here, because I was getting an alert for, I think, unhappy like people, and so I changed that to move that out of the way, because you can hit the H button and then look at the negative decline on happiness and see what's bringing down their happiness, and that's how you can adjust what you're doing. And now I'm detailing the area around our castle. I know I kind of leaped on that one, but it's where my brain brought me because I had an alert and it brought me over to that area, so that area got work done. I warned you guys I have ADHD. So if you guys ever, or any of my fellow ADHD friends, I've had these conversations where I'll like start cleaning, I don't know, like the living room, and I'll pick up a plate and bring it to the kitchen, and then I'll start cleaning the kitchen, and then I'll be doing the kitchen, and I'll be doing dishes, and then like I'll be cleaning off the counter, and I'll find, I don't know, like a pen or a notebook or something that goes to my bedroom, and then I'll pick that up and go to my bedroom, and I'll start cleaning my bedroom. It's like, it's crazy how that works. Now I've gotten a lot better at the cleaning thing. I've tried this new method. I call it the box method, where I actually bring a box with me when I'm cleaning an area, and I put it next to like the door of whatever room I'm cleaning. And if I find something that belongs in a different room, I actually just put it in the box now. I don't leave to go put it in a different room, because if I leave the room I'm cleaning, it's just not going to get done, and I'll end up in a different room cleaning a different room. So yeah, so if I have any fellow people who, you don't even have to be ADHD. If you just get distracted easily, let me know. That's a really good method in my opinion. Because sometimes you're overwhelmed, and yeah, cleaning can definitely be one of those overwhelming factors. These wrought iron fences, I think, are so amazing. I absolutely love them. I am contemplating doing like a British zoo or a London zoo, and maybe bringing some of that as well as the green iron work into it, kind of doing a mixture of the two. I'm not sure how I feel about it, contemplating it, haven't decided yet. I kind of went back to the entrance in this point and decided there wasn't a bathroom in this area, and there should be a bathroom on both sides of the entrance, I guess you could say, because when you're entering or exiting, you kind of want to be able to hit the bathroom on your way out. So I figured this was a good location. It's by a restaurant. It's kind of going, if people were exiting this direction to the entrance, they'd be right next to it. Because the entrance is right there and the bathroom is right there. So, yeah, so I added a bathroom, added some trim to it, took away some trim. And then I, got this place kind of looking good. I needed to finish up this location specifically right here with this trim here. I thought it was nice, but it was kind of falling flat. So I added some flowers and filled in the grass to make it look less like it was just chopped into. And that area is now complete. And it's really satisfying when you complete an area. So I bounced back over to this section, which I had framed off but hadn't finished. So it's a matter of just adding foliage, adding some decoration, just making it a little more zhuzhed up, I guess you could say, so that when you're coming in the entrance, you're not just coming into a blank canvas. I contemplated putting like tables or like sitting area here, but if you look a catty corner across the way, there's actually already a sitting court there with tables and chairs and an entire food court. So I was like, that's not necessary. I also realized when I was placing the restrooms, I kind of just bulldozed or buried over trees. So I had to move those, which was good because it's kind of like reuse, recycle the trees. Because it does save your budget if you're on franchise mode, which is what I'm on. So you got to be careful when you're deleting stuff because sometimes you'll delete trees and then you'll actually end up losing money because of it. So I like to try to save the trees and just move them instead of deleting them and adding new when possible. Which is why if you look on the outskirts of my map, you'll see all kinds of just like trees or trash cans, benches, things I've just kind of tossed on the outside to use later. I'm trying to kind of stick to following the path and filling it in. Putting some greenery in there, pops of color. Because just green is nice, but I feel like the pops of color really bring it to life. And this area is pretty much just about wrapped up. I'm just going to line this one last section here with some more rocking. Because I contemplated doing the pathing on the raised pathing on this, but that right there, the section I just did, the little pointed section, would look a little strange in my opinion. So I decided not to do that with this area. I thought about putting bathrooms over here. I wasn't positive on it, and then I kind of decided against it because I thought the bathrooms were just kind of literally just down the corner. So we're fine here. I did darken this in color and give a little bit of texture so that it just gave it more something. It just didn't feel flat. Then anywhere I'm seeing grass come through the pathing, obviously get rid of it just by doing low grass or short grass. There was a weird bump, got rid of that. Checked on my animals. Which, by the way, if you guys have these peafowl, they're so hard to keep perfect. They constantly need care. I'm trying to kind of ignore a lot of my animal care at this exact point in time. I do have it paused. I don't like pausing it when I'm working on stuff because you're spending money and you're not making money. So I don't like doing it, but sometimes you kind of have to, just so I don't have all those alerts going crazy while I'm trying to finish stuff up. Here is where I added some of the railing or the pathing that comes with the paths in game. So if you want to use these, you're welcome to. They look pretty good. I realized here they looked kind of janky, so this was me just kind of finishing it so I could look at it, and then deciding to completely demolish this area right here. And sometimes you do that. Sometimes you look at an area and you're like, this is not how I want it to look, and there's nothing wrong with completely demolishing something and then going back and redoing it. It's a valid choice, I guess you could say. Yeah, so, and so while I'm going through these parts, I try to think about what amenities are here. Are customers getting what they need? Are they getting fed? Are they getting water, drinks? And are there bathrooms close by? I really wanted that to be fully pathed in, but I'd have to basically delete a lot of stuff to get it to work. So I kind of just fiddled with it to make it one small little gap there and try not to make perfect the enemy of good or the enemy of good enough. Because sometimes you strive for perfection and it can literally drive you a little batty. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to leave it a little imperfect and we'll just fill it in with some foliage and everything's fine. Nothing to see here. That was totally on purpose. 100%. Yeah. And sometimes you just gotta do that. In my opinion, sometimes you just gotta let it go because you can drive yourself insane trying to get some of these things perfect, especially when a lot of this pathing I created when you guys gotta realize this is my first franchise zoo. So that's why I'm flipping the zoo. This is my first franchise zoo. This is my first attempt at doing a lot of stuff. So a lot of these paths were created when I first started playing. So the skill as far as, putting the pathing correct was not there yet. So yeah, so there was a little bit of hit and miss in the construction of this here zoo. So sometimes the pathing just kind of has to work as best as it can, which is fine because honestly I think that tree being right there works because I could put seating underneath the shade of the tree. So happy little accidents, I guess you could say, which is what I end up doing here. I end up putting some seating kind of where the shade hits. It might not hit shade at all times of the day, but it will hit it at least partial times of the day, which gives people a place to sit. I then realized I wanted the colors to be matching to the bake shop right there. So I started fiddling with the colors until I got some matching tones and deleted the other ones and just kind of replaced these because I wanted it to match. I wanted it to be kind of matchy-matchy. And then we just kind of move along further down the path outside of where the flamingos are. We put a lot of rocks there, but we never quite finished the area, so it was just path and done. So I just added more rocks. Because why not, right? I don't know that I did it here in this section of the video, but I might go back through and just pop some foliage in between the rocks if I don't do it. These are things you think of when you're kind of watching back and you're like, I did that, but I could do this too. So I'm thinking maybe some little bit of rock, a little bit of bushes or something, just poking out a little areas. Maybe there's just those little rock flowers, like little flat ones, would be good in that area. So we will go back and do that because right now it's kind of brown and gray. So if I don't do it this episode, which I honestly cannot remember if I did it or not, brain is a little bit unremembering. If I didn't do it though, I will go back and do it and I will show it to you guys, maybe in the screenshots at the end of the video, if I do go back and do it. We'll see. It's amazing the things you think of while you're trying to change and add things. You can see how time is progressing, and I kind of wanted to go back because I remembered that I didn't finish this little open area right here. Once again, ADHD brain at its best. It happens. Also, sometimes I place the bushes midair. I don't know why I do it. I just do. Does anybody else do that? Is it just me? Am I the only one that places midair bushes? Don't worry, I grab them and slide them back down in. Once again, more pops of color. It didn't need a lot. It just needed a little bit of zhuzh. And just trying to get these areas that look weird. Like there's no way that would stay, afloat if there wasn't some support. It would have just fallen over. So adding some rocks and some support and just making it more, I guess you'd say, finite and complete. Because that's what we do. We make sure things are complete. More pops of color because I thought it was kind of just brown and green. Flowers make everything look good in this game. I think flowers and foliage are just like the keys of an amazing zoo, in my opinion. I'm trying to also get a lot better at reminding myself to use more waterworks. I use some here and there, but I feel like I don't use it enough. So maybe next time I build a zoo, or maybe in one of my next habitats, I will be sure to have a water feature, I guess you could say. I think that would be kind of cool. Just finishing off the foliage underneath the area here. I really just want to make sure every area I pass by has been touched and has been perfected. Like, it has been, you know, just outlined, looks good, looks complete, doesn't look half done. That's the bad thing. I guess the only downside to going habitat to habitat, you're finalizing and polishing off the habitats, but the outside of the habitats sometimes get, I guess, left behind or forgotten about if you're creating an entire zoo. So if you do that, if you do like habitat to habitat, just make sure you walk through the zoo or glide through the zoo and make sure you're looking at what your customers, your guests are going to be seeing when they're walking through the zoo. Does it look done? Does it look complete? Does it look polished? Are you happy with it? You know, you can also go into this really cool mode where you can actually go as a guest or even as a worker and walk around the zoo with them and experience the zoo through their eyes. It's kind of cool. Let me know if you guys ever want me to do that for you guys. I totally could do that. So that area is polished off. The next area to come is over here along the other side of this habitat. If you don't, I know I'm kind of going a little fast, but this is the hippos. And that was done. And then we're going to go over here by the insect thing. And I mentioned I really wanted to kind of frame this off with fencing and foliage. Because right now, it doesn't say end of zoo. It just says wide open spaces. So I will spare you from singing wide open spaces, which popped in my brain just now. So we're just going to put up some fencing and make it to where, you know, it's not an area for guests. As you can see, the staff only sign that I had there. So now I'm just framing it out so it looks more complete. We don't need little Johnny going out into the woods at the edge of the zoo. So, and then I realized it was a little tall, so I kind of sunk it down into the ground a little bit. But really framing this out, you're going to see how it goes from kind of boring to really complete. Kind of keep this memory of what this looks like before I started doing this in your head. See how it's kind of boring right now? And really, you get to see what it looks like at the end when this whole area is framed out, and it's going to be so complete, and it's just going to feel really good. And I feel like it makes it, you know, a complete location for a guest to come visit and experience. Sorry, I just realized I was kind of focused on the video and I didn't realize that my neighbor's dog was absolutely going berserk. So I've closed off my windows now, so hopefully you won't hear the dog barking. He always goes loony when they leave. You can always tell when they've left to go to the store or left for the day because they put him in the backyard and he will bark for about an hour or two, sometimes 3, because he does not like being left. It's crazy. And I can't talk him out of it. I don't know the dog well enough, unfortunately. So right now we're just really, we framed the area with fencing and now we're framing the area with foliage. And I really, it's already bringing it up to another level. I mean, I barely started doing it and it's already making it pop. It's already making it different than it was. So it's, I think it's really cool. I like the changes a lot. I love framing stuff out like this. I think it really brings your zoo to life. I love those Jeeps back there, by the way. I might move the tree a bit. It might be hard to see them. Maybe not. Maybe that one bush should go. I don't know. What do we think? Are those Jeeps... Maybe that one bush needs to scooch over. I don't know. Maybe we'll leave it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. So this is what happens when you go back and you look at your work after you've done it. You're kind of like, wait a minute, did I do that right? Should I redo that? And it's just a matter of trying to place different kinds of trees. I loved these curved trees. I kind of thought I could make like a neat little arch over that walkway. Thinking about just like growth pattern as well as them maybe like trimming it as, you know, time progressed to take down the side branches and it ends up just framing that little walkway for the staff. I think that's really cool. One other thing I do need to go back to, and I need to add a staff only sign there. I did not add one there. I know I didn't add one there. I added one further down the path at another location where staff only is, but sometimes you just forget little details, little tidbits when you're cruising along. I put all of these in there. Again, these are water plants, so maybe I should put like a little creek or something back there just to kind of tie it off. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Should I add a little creek back there? And then when I was framing that off, I kind of realized all these staff huts are all clay. So I think the proper fencing or the proper framing would be clay for over here where the staff area is. And I started doing it and I kind of hated it. So I undid it. And then I tried again. I sometimes forget you can use the X button to kind of make sure the walls stay completely straight. If you don't know that trick, basically it's just hitting X and then using the arrow patterns to basically just make it straight. And then you hit the check mark for every one and it creates a new one and you just slide it forward, and that's all you do the entire way through. If you haven't done that before, let me know. I'm happy to show you. You can come buzz me on stream and be like, hey, I saw this thing in your video. Can you show me how to do that? And I love showing people how to do stuff. I have literally stopped everything I'm doing in the middle of a stream to show people how to do stuff because it excites me so much. A, because I know you listened and you saw something in my video that you wanted me to show you, and which excites me. And B, because I love when people can learn new things, because we play video games for fun. And if your game would be funner if you knew how to work something or move something or use something, then why wouldn't I be excited to show you? You know, so anyway, it's just rounding out this fencing right here, kind of in the staff area. Sometimes your fences don't match up. Don't freak out. Just put like put a decorative piece there or something to kind of stop the gap. Luckily in the clay stuff, there are those little round pillars you can just kind of put when your pieces don't quite match up. But if you're not using the clay fences, you can also put like posts, poles. You could put a big bush there. There's different things you could do to kind of just break up where your seams don't quite match. And make it look on purpose versus on accident, which is what I love to do. I live by the phrase happy little accidents. You know, I heard that phrase growing up because, you know, our happy little painter. But it's something to live by. Like, if you mess up, it's not the end of the world. Find a way around it. So yeah, so that area is now framed off and complete back there. And then I just need to continue framing what I'm considering the staffing area and the end of the zoo. So this is end of the zoo fencing because you kind of don't want them going past where your zoo is. So Usually there's a fence or a barricade of some sort, and then of course foliage to kind of fill it out, make it look more on purpose, make it look manicured and like the end of the line, but in a nice way, in a happy way. And then I'm trying to finalize the staffing area. There are buildings in here, but I didn't think there were enough. And you can see me grabbing all the trees and stuff in the background that I've had over time and just moving them. Like I said, reuse, recycle. Because if you find yourself needing trees, or you don't use all your trees, or sometimes those trees are just included within your border, so you can just grab them and move them. Especially if you put a fence up, there's no rules saying you can't do that. And then you've just gotten yourself a free tree. So I put another staff room up, and then I put another like keeper hut up, and then I added, I think, a lab room where they can go in and do research on animals, and that area is framed out. And then I'm going to go grab the same rock that was in the beginning to frame this area out. I know I could have just went into rocks and grabbed it, but sometimes my brain just works that way. I'm like, oh, I know where it is. I'm just going to go grab it real quick. Am I the only one that does that? I can't be the only one that does that, right? I do weird things that I question whether I am the only weirdo that does it. And yes, those are the arch pieces I just sunk into the ground. There are no limits and no rules on things you can use in this game. A lot of them have like sayings or what you should do or can do or would do, like rock formation X or like pole 1. But you can use them for other things. The sky is the limit. So that arch, while I didn't want an arch there, I did want a unique rock piece that I hadn't already used like 5 times. So I sunk it into the ground and it became a new rock piece. It's just a matter of trying to think outside the box as far as your capabilities and not limit yourself on what you can do. I like these little planters here, so I didn't want to get rid of them, but I needed to reconfigure how they were going to be sitting, I guess you could say. Is that the right word, sitting? Once again, didn't like it, so I'm moving it again. That's the awesome thing about this game. If you don't like something, you can just move it. Yep, so finishing framing this out, and when I'm framing stuff out, my brain is actively thinking of what else I need in this location and what I need to make it better or make it complete. So while I'm doing this, I'm realizing that these are actually like little huts that people would actually go into, like maybe staff or maybe even just like guests for like a tour, maybe like a school tour or something. So then I realized maybe I don't want to close that off. And what do I do? So I was thinking about it. What do I do with this? So I ended up moving these just a little to the left, and which kind of ended up making that area right there match, which was really cool. And then I started thinking about, well, how do I make this look good? And I was like, I don't like that. And then I was like, okay, I need smaller rocks, something different. So then I ended up putting like these little brick rocks, which I thought looked kind of cool. Yeah, they're not straight. I did it on purpose. Don't worry. I wanted it to be kind of at a weird angle, kind of almost like over time, this is how they sat. Put like a little path on both sides. And then I also wanted a path to go to the other hut as well. And I realized this was all kind of dark. When I lay things out that would decrease happiness, I typically put like little circles around them or whatever so I can see where they are. If you haven't seen me do that in my series, let me know. I'm happy to show it to you. It's really cool. I do it in my series, I think, a couple of times. And then I just clean this off to make it look like it's somewhere where staff would walk quite often. You just, make it pretty. That's all you do. So just kind of also got rid of the grass inside of here because a grass around a fire stove made no sense. And then we're back to just kind of framing out this area because I don't want those weird grass pieces. Once again, I know that I could create pathing underneath this whole thing, but that would have taken me moving it and changing it, adjusting it, and I figured, you know what, it doesn't hurt just to frame it out. Just add some flowers. Flowers fix everything. I mean, honestly, your guests are going to enjoy the flowers, so flowers here and there do not hurt anything. And it kind of just brings a lot of stuff together anyway. Like places where guests are going to sit or they're going to spend time. And it, you know, and then like I started adding them in places where there wasn't any grass. And no one needs to know there wasn't any grass there. It's honestly so that I don't have weird flowers just everywhere and they actually are in places that make sense. Otherwise I would just have random flowers in certain areas and not others. So I finished that area up, and then I wanted to be sure that everywhere was covered. Once again, just detailing it's a little time consuming, but I feel like it really, you know, finishes off areas, finishes off sections, makes them feel more on purpose versus just, oh, well, this is where, you know, things were forgotten and not taken care of. And I also double checked, and I kind of did this off screen. I double checked all of the habitats and made sure it was one-sided glass on each one, just to make sure we were doing it accurately. This is me fiddling around, not sure what the heck is going on. If you guys are having issues with your stuff turning correctly, make sure your angle snap is turned off. It was messing with my head that I was like, oh yeah, angle snap. And I went and turned it off and everything was fine. I seriously thought I was losing my mind for a minute there. I was like, why is my stuff not turning correctly? What in the world is happening? And apparently, I think my game rebooted or something had happened. I don't remember why angle snap went back on. Or, oh wait, no. I was doing the umbrella around the hippo area. And yeah, that basically I had to turn angle snapping back on so I could do it properly. And I forgot to turn it back off. So that happens. So never panic when your stuff's not working right. There's a reason why, you know, your snapping's not working the way it was before or whatever. It's a setting. You just got to figure out which setting it is. And this is me just kind of adding a little color to the rocks and to the fencing area that frames all the habitats. I'm just kind of going backwards. I'm honestly kind of going back and forth to all the paths in this area and making sure I didn't leave anything undone, untouched. Sometimes I'm double layering the flowers, double layering the flowers so they don't look like they're just patterned or, you know, copied or whatever. Yep, and just making sure everything looks polished. It needs to look done. Because I really want to knock off this side of the zoo as complete so I don't have to come back to it anymore. Something I am going to do off camera is I'm also going to make sure that all of my settings for all of my bugs, like all my exhibits, are set to auto sell the creatures that are below basically the two oldest or whatever, or the two youngest. Basically always keeping 2 in there, but keeping their population down. I did do that on stream, so that's why I'm telling you guys I did it off camera, because I can't find the video for that. I think I might have accidentally deleted it because I cleaned out my computer. Speaking of issues, my computer was acting really funky, and one of the big issues is it was saying it was over the max limit for memory, so I was trying to delete a bunch of stuff, and I think I accidentally deleted that specific video that showed me cleansing out the exhibits. But once again, you guys have seen me do that. If you haven't seen it, it's on the video about maintenance and how I take care of my exhibits and how I make quick money. So if you haven't seen that yet, it's if I can link it up above, I will. So you can go back to that video. I'm not sure if I have that capability because I don't have 1,000 followers. I don't remember if that's a feature I can use. If it is, it'll be up above. If it's not, then just look for the maintenance video. I think it's got like, it talks about me being in financial ruin, basically, because I had to bring my zoo was in the negatives, and I had to bring it back to being in the positive. It was in the red. It was a little scary. As you can see now, we're doing great. We are doing so fantastic as far as money goes, because when you start fixing your zoo and making it work smoother and making everything prettier and making it more amenable to guests, your income goes up and people want to come because your zoo is nicer and there's more for them to do. There's more for them to experience. There's more for them to eat, drink, consume. And when you have better, happier animals, more people will come as well. So my revenue has really skyrocketed since that whole We've Gone Bankrupt episode. Another thing that did not help the bankruptcy might have been the fact that I kept pausing the game. I decided to add pathing markers here. They look a little different than the regular pedestrian pathing, but I figure it kind of fits the area for staffing. And that's just me checking to make sure we have a little bit of everything. Trash cans, donation bins, everything's framed, everything looks good. And then I'm kind of thinking here and I'm realizing this area does not have a bathroom. Like I said, you're going to see me placing a few bathrooms in this episode because I just realized that we've got food, we've got drinks, we have nowhere to go pee. Could you imagine walking an hour or half an hour or whatever to get to this section over here and realizing you can't use the bathroom and you have to go to the other side of the zoo? That's a lot of backtracking, and that's also a lot of cranky customers. A lot of cranky guests. So we don't want to make our guests cranky. We want to take care of them. So we give them bathrooms. We give them places to go relieve themselves. Because all of that right there was all shops. All shops. So right next to the shops, we need to have bathrooms. And then there's this little section here that wasn't polished off. So I was like, more flowers. Oh, wait, I don't want to put just flowers. Maybe some rocks. Since everything over here is rocks, it kind of fits the aesthetic, the vibe. And then one little flower. And then I figured I would move the trash can stuff next to it or close to it. So it kind of made it an on-purpose area. Like, we put this here on purpose. And then I made sure the education was accurate. If you notice, my education was low in some places. So I just wanted to make sure it was spot on and good for guests. And when you're doing the education speakers, make sure you're doing the sliders to where there's no pink on the edges, because if it's pink, that is actually an area where guests can walk over it and get a bad vibe. They get cranky because it's too loud. Once again, sliding speakers down to the ground, like I kind of mentioned in the very beginning that I was going to do. As I see them or as I can do them, I'm going to slide them down. I also noticed the platypus area, the underground viewing area. The rocks were never finished here. It's just kind of a blank wall and it's boring. It doesn't look good. So just doing some more rock work, because I'm sure you guys all wanted to see lots of rock work, right? I mean, nothing wrong with some good old healthy rock work. I do think like the platypus area and this entire viewing area is probably one of my favorite parts of the zoo. My favorite part is obviously, you know, the spooky castle part. Sorry, but that's my favorite part of the whole zoo. There are small parts of me that thought about doing like an entire haunted zoo. Maybe for Halloween we could do a haunted zoo series. I'm also just trying to make sure this area right here is framed out. It already had a bunch of rocks, so I thought more rocks fit. And then of course, you know, zhuzh it up a little bit with some flower work just to make sure that it's not just a bunch of rocks everywhere. You'll see me doing that throughout when I'm laying stuff down. especially around like the edges or the corners. Making sure this all looks good, is fitted correctly, and is complete. Then I kind of realized, why do I have these stands? You don't need them. They're already hanging on walls. So I took the stand away for pretty much all of these and made sure the framing was correct for all of it. And yeah, that is going to finish off this section. And then I thought this looked a little funky. It still looks a little funky. But adding more rocks, maybe even some foliage can never hurt. I think you guys are probably tired of me saying foliage and rocks at this point, right? But I mean, honestly, this is what we're doing. This is a detailing video. This is how do we make this zoo pretty video. How do we make it more, polished off for these sections? We are reaching the end of where I wanted to finish polishing off. So, we moved the statue thingy that I wanted to use. I realized I hated this pathing back here, so I'm moving that, changing that. I wanted a staff, I guess, entrance and an area where all of this could go. I might even put some more staff buildings back there. I'm not sure yet. I know we've already got plenty of staffing, but I don't think it ever hurts to have more staffing. Like, honestly, or at least a staffing lounge area or something. Because we've got a lot of staff. We have tons of staff. And I think we've only got like 5 or 6 staff rooms. And we've got hundreds of staff. So I might just put several staff buildings back there. Just for places where our vendors or our keepers or whoever needs to go on break has a good section or good area where they can go take breaks. Once again, framing off the area where guests don't need to see past, which is right here. Making sure it's kind of going to be zhuzhed up for them so it looks very natural and on purpose. This looked kind of boring, so I added some flowers to it because, you guys can kind of tell I'm very obsessed with flowers. I also realized that was a little high and I didn't like it, so I kind of sunk it into the ground a wee bit. Sometimes you've got to turn off the snapping or the guide stuff to make sure it fits correctly. I realized there was one weird patch of grass, so I got rid of that and then framed all of this out. Right up against the habitat, we already have a good bit of rock framing, so once again, really just doing the rock framing with a little touches of flowers here and there as needed. But these guys really have a lot of rock work around their habitat, so I felt like rock framing really fit, and why change the pattern that you've already been using this entire time. I don't like that chair right there. I think I'm gonna move it if I don't already. It's kind of in a very weird location, or maybe I'll stick something in between the 2 seats. It's kind of clunky. And polishing everything up with flowers like you do, because that's our job. Little pops of color. I did forget to put a staff sign up there again, so that's going to have to be added. I love watching these back because you realize the small little details you miss while you're busy trying to get the stuff to look good. This was me trying to determine how I wanted this to look. I'm still not sold on it. I might actually end up changing it again in the next video. It might be like a I hate this, now we're fixing it segment. Not sure yet. I'm also still trying to decide where I want things to go and whether or not I want a exhibit right there next to the restaurant. Habitat. I'm actually thinking I do. I think I do want a habitat right there. I just don't know what I want to put right there. If you're watching this and maybe you have a vote on something you would love to see as a habitat, this is, I'm going to say, mostly African themed, but we have all kinds of animals in the zoo. We have some from a lot of different continents. Don't be afraid to just blurt out whatever animal you think would suit. You can look at all my titles to my past videos or watch my past videos and you can see all the animals we've already got in here. But yeah, back right off of where we're working by the restaurant, I showed it in the very beginning of the video. What habitat do you think I should build there? Because I'm convinced I should already put a habitat there. I just don't know what to put. I don't know what animal to put in there, but I feel like we definitely need an animal. I think this is the only thing that makes me cranky about this game, and I wish they would fix, is let us put the benches where we want to. Stop trying to force us to stick them in certain areas. It lays out in a way where you have to stick it on the pathing in a specific manner. I wish we could use the benches like we do the rocks and everything else and really just angle it and make it look perfect. Instead, they tend to look a little janky, a little weird. Oftentimes you end up having to stick your benches in places you really don't want to stick them, but it's kind of the only place that the path will allow you to stick them. So it gets a little annoying. I was testing out something to see if the rocks look good over here. I actually hated them, so I didn't put them down. Sometimes you have an idea and sometimes it doesn't look good. And that's fine. It is okay to change your mind. So yeah, just polishing this area off and filling it in with a few rocks here and there, just so it's not all just grass and bushes. And that's it. That is really this area framed off. Now we're going to frame off the restaurant area. This is the side where we're not going to put the habitat, but see to your right where I just looked for a second. This area right here, that's where I want the habitat to be. And that's basically the, I guess, the animal I have to come up with that I want to go in that area. Oh, it's so like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to put there. It's weird that I don't know. Maybe we put elephants there? Would elephants work there? I don't know. What do we think about elephants? Would that be, I don't know. I mean, I guess an African habitat or an African like zoo should probably have some elephants. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think elephants would work well? I think elephants could be pretty darn neat. Or hyenas. We could do hyenas. I mean, they have hyenas in the game, right? Anyway, this area right here, it's behind the restaurant, and I kind of thought it would look kind of neat if we put like a little water area back here. Now, if we were allowed to, I would completely put like koi fish or like little pond animals in there, like little fish, just to make it something that the viewers from the restaurant could look at from above and below or wherever, and it could look really pretty and look really neat. We don't have that ability. I wish Planet Zoo would give us that ability, even if it's just for decorative purposes, not necessarily for zoo animals, but for like, you know, you want to add fish to your water, here you go. It would be really cool. Kind of like the spawners in the Sims. I don't know if you guys play Sims, you'll know what I'm talking about, but how you can create like ponds in the Sims and you can put like little spawn points for the ponds. Kind of like that. Now I'm doing a basic draw outline because I don't plan on leaving all that glass there. This is just so that I can add the water and then remove the glass for every section that I can. And any section that won't allow me to remove the glass, then I know that means that was the, I guess, thing that was giving us issue with the water filling, and I know that means that we need to put a rock there and just leave the glass. It's a weird little trick, but it works for me. It's not a lot of water. I wasn't trying to like make it crazy full. So I played around with it a bit to see where I could stick the water, and this ended up being the best maneuver was for this specific water. And we can already see where I'm not allowed to delete. Here in a second, you'll see it. I accidentally deleted a bush, so I got rid of that, put that back. And And then deleted all these little glass pieces here. And we're gonna foliage it out so it doesn't look so rough, because you can kind of see how the ground is rough in areas, which is fine. Nothing a little foliage and our best friend rocks can't fix. So you can see I'm not having much of an issue deleting the glass pretty much everywhere except for right along that one edge. And that just means that we need to move some rocks over and cover that glass up, and then we're good to go. No one's the wiser. Except for you guys who are watching the video. You guys will know, but nobody else will know. And that is how it is a lot of times with guests. Guests, there'll be like little features or, you know, rock features or whatever, and they'll think, oh, that's really pretty, and they won't realize it's covering up, I don't know, power couplets or whatever, and they've strategically placed rocks around it so you can't see it. Happens all the time in zoos and in parks, like amusement parks. And then to kind of cap it off and to make it look more complete, because I'm going to be sticking a whole bunch of foliage in here, I wanted to put a fence. So I grabbed the fence that was used on the other side of the restaurant. So it ties the restaurant together as one big restaurant piece versus just some other fence or some other thing that doesn't quite tie all the rest of the restaurant together. I wanted it to be kind of matchy-matchy, I guess you could say. So once we have the fence fully in place, we will finish it up with foliage and make it look cohesive and on purpose versus just kind of me trying to make a water feature, basically. And it'll look really nice when we're done. So if you don't have like little details like this, like I mentioned, that framing with rock is good too, but adding details like little ponds or like little water features, especially close to restaurants or sitting areas where your guests rest or relax, is really good. Even if it's not necessarily a habitat, but it can be just like something nice to look at. And that really wraps up this half of the zoo. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I will be doing another detailing video of the other half of the zoo, but I think we need to finish some habitats first. I hope you guys liked it. Please subscribe. Thank you so much for coming. Ring that bell. All those really cool YouTube things. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.